Hello, I'm Courtney Weatherman, and this is my ISI 2 video. I did the flow of energy in a living system, and I'm with 4th grade. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, class, so in the center of each table group, I left a blank sheet of paper for you. What I need you to do is grab one and hold it up like this so I know you're ready to move on for science. Awesome. Okay, so today we will be learning about the flow of energy in a living system. Can I do that with me? Flow of energy. Our teak for today is describe the flow of energy through food webs beginning with the sun and predict how changes in the ecosystem affect the food web. Your learning goals for today are I can describe the flow of energy in a living system and its importance. I can identify the flow of energy in a living system and can explain through my writing their significance. I saw the word writing. Did anybody else? Yeah, today we'll be doing two things. We'll be learning new vocabulary words, and we'll be writing a descriptive text. So you'll be writing today, and you'll be doing vocabulary. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to be underneath the dot cam, and what I'm writing down, I expect you all to be writing down as well. So we have to organize our writing for today. How do you think we can organize our writing? Nathan. Okay, he's saying maybe a Venn diagram. Awesome, okay, that's one way. Nate. Interesting, he said a bulleted list. I love both the ideas. It's great ways to organize your text. But how we're going to do it today is we're going to break it into 3 sections. So you're going to draw one line, and you're going to leave a big, big gap. And you're going to draw your other line. So as you can see, I have 3 sections. Okay, the first one, do this with me, class. Okay. Introduction, 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 as fast as you can. We're saying the word introduction. Okay, so the first one's our introduction. So what is it, class? Our introduction, introduction, introduction. Our second section stands for our body. It's our body. Okay, so say it with me. It's our body. Okay, good job. And our third, can anybody guess what this one is? Okay. The third one is our conclusion. Good job, Nate. Yes, it's our conclusion. So if we say conclusion, conclusion. Okay, so we have our introduction, 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 body, and our conclusion. So we have all 3 parts, our introduction, body, and conclusion. For our introduction, what I want you to do is I want you to think of our subject that we're learning about today. Remember at the beginning when I had you go like this? Rebecca, our flow of energy, right? That's our subject. That's what we're going to be learning about today. So we know our subject is a flow of energy. Then we're going to define it. We're going to talk about what it means. Okay, so I'm going to give you sentence stems for today. So today in science, I learned about, you can draw a blank, because that is our subject. That's what it represents. But we know it's a flow of energy. So we're going to write flow of energy. Then you're going to write the flow of energy is when, so this is when we're going to define what our vocab means. So we say is when, leave it blank, that's your sentence stem. Okay, we're going to discuss this more in detail later. We're going to come back to our sentence stem to kind of think about it, right? But some of y'all don't even really understand what I'm saying yet when I'm saying flow of energy, right? So what we need to do is move on to our body. And we're going to discuss 4 questions. So if you notice, I left another handout on your desk. It looks like a gumball machine, as it is a gumball machine. But it's a fun way to organize a gumball machine, not your typical one. So you have the 4 questions. Why is it important, how it works, what it is, and what it does? Okay, so we're thinking about the flow of energy. So whenever I say thinking about your focus questions, these are the questions I'm referring to. Okay, but first in our body, we're going to draw a diagram. Raise your hand if you ever heard of the word food chain. You might have seen this last year in 3rd grade, maybe even 2nd grade. Can anybody tell me? Nathan? Okay, so he said there's arrows in it. I love that. That's very important. Anybody else? Okay, you remember a hawk in it? Okay, that's good. Okay, the first step I want you to do is draw your sun. Okay, so as we're drawing our diagram, we're going to put labels on it. So take a pencil and underneath your drawing, write the word sun. Every food chain or food web that you know of starts with the sun. It will always be the sun. The next thing we're going to draw is some grass. Do we know how grass grows? Does anybody have a guess? Ooh, who said the sun? You're correct. The grass grows from the sun. So underneath grass, I want you to write the word producer. The words that we are labeling are our vocabulary words. Okay, what's something that eats grass? Maybe a grasshopper. Good, who said that? I love being so smart today. So we have an insect. I'm going to write underneath it the word consumer. Okay, somebody said something about arrows earlier. Does this look like it's missing anything? Arrows, right? I'm going to draw my arrows going to the right. The arrows are pointing at what's getting energy. So we said the grass gets energy from the sun. And if the grasshopper eats the grass, it's getting energy, right? How many of y'all are always so hungry and then you eat and you feel better because you're energetic and you gain energy? That's the flow of it. That's how it's going. Okay, after that, you're going to draw a cute little mouse. And I want you to label underneath the mouse, pray. Once you've done that, you're going to draw another arrow, and the last step, you're going to draw your snake. And underneath snake, we're going to write the word predator. Okay, so everybody's diagram should look like mine. Okay, the next step is we're going to define our vocabulary. So I want you to draw these boxes underneath. And inside the boxes, we're going to fill in our vocabulary. So producer, something that makes energy. So a producer could be grass, it could be flowers, and they make their own energy. It's pretty neat. A consumer eats something to gain energy. Actually, I have that written down. Okay, and then a pray. Does anybody know that word? Okay, class, do this with me. Pray. Put your hands together and look up. I don't know if many of y'all have gone to church or anything, but people who are religious, they pray. And they say a little prayer that everything's going to be okay. So whenever you think of the word pray, I want you to think of that. And a prey is an animal that gets eaten or hunted. So think about it. If you're getting eaten or hunted, that's not good, right? So you're going to pray. That is not you. That doesn't happen to you. So let's say pray. Pray. Good job. This is an animal that is getting eaten or hunted. Lastly, predator. What do you think that is? If a prey is something that gets eaten, what do you think a predator is? Oh my god, you think it eats animals? And hunts animals? That's awesome. That's exactly what it means. Y'all are doing awesome. Okay, so we so far have our introduction. And in our body, we have our diagram with our arrows pointing at the flow of energy, the way it's flowing. And we have labels and then our definitions. What's our last step? The conclusion. We have to go back to our introduction and see the definition that we have. So let's say the flow of energy is when energy is exchanged. I have a question for you. Is it okay to go back and to draw a picture in your introduction? Of course it is. Sometimes you might even draw some arrows with the flow. We say the subject, which is the flow of energy, equals the definition. We know energy exchange. So you might even draw 2 arrows to show that energy is being exchanged. Okay, so we have to do our same subject. So you can say the flow of energy. Let's come up with a new definition. What did we learn? Is when a consumer gets its energy. Wow. Good job. Good job. So proud of you. Okay. So here we go. What we have to do is we're going to orally practice this essay, descriptive essay, together before we go and write it. In writing our descriptive essay, we're going to use transition words. I left another copy for you on your desk of transition words. We have first, then, after, next, and finally. Those are just some examples. That means there are more transition words. The transition words are going to get us from one sentence to the next smoothly. Okay? So for example, you could say, first, the sun makes all the energy. Next, the grass and plants produce their own energy. Then, the grasshopper eats the grass, right? So you heard how I use first, next, and then. I use transition words. Another way you can do this, instead of using transition words, is you can start a sentence with the vocabulary word and then the definition. So you can say, a producer is someone who makes its own energy. Okay? So we're going to use transition words and descriptive words because this is a describing essay. Right? We want the reader to visualize what's going on. So instead of saying the snake eats the mouse, we could say the snake slithered across the sand and ate the tiny little mouse. That gives the reader more of a mental image in their head when reading your essay. So let's do this together as a class. Let's go back from the beginning. Let's orally practice our essay. Okay. Today in science, I learned about the flow of energy. The flow of energy is when energy is exchanged. Moving on into our body, we have to have every vocabulary word in our essay. How are we going to organize this? Rosie. Okay. What about this? What if you make a system where we have to go left to right, and every time we say a word, we check it off? So the sun's the first thing we talk about. We're moving left to right. We're organizing it. And we talk about the producer, we're going to check it. Would it make sense to talk about predator after the producer? No, we have to go in this order. Okay, so stay with me. First, the sun has light that shines and makes energy for all. Then, the producer, which is someone who makes its own energy, gives off energy to the world. Next, the grasshopper will consume the grass and gain energy. From there, the mouse, which is the prey, will get hunted by the snake. The predator, which is a snake, will eat the mouse to gain its energy. The flow of energy is when a consumer gets its energy. Okay. Now, that's just a little practice when you are working on this individually, which means you're independently working, level 0. You'll think about writing it and organizing it and make sure every vocabulary word is in there. I want you to highlight each vocabulary word to make sure you have it in your essay. Be sure to use transition words and descriptive words. If you have any questions, let me know.